everyone. Welcome to the Align Your Life show. Thanks so much for being here. We're just getting back after the Thanksgiving holiday, so I had a couple of weeks off, but really excited to be here at our new day and time, Tuesdays at 2 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I am Jenny Parks, Health and Prosperity Coach, and I am here with my reindeer. Jennifer Malins is back. Can't get over that. I told her only she could look that good in something like that. Doesn't she look amazing? Jennifer is an integrative nutrition coach, heart math coach, and author of the book Soul Destination. So welcome back, Jen.
Thank you.
She's here the second Tuesday. I almost said Wednesday because that's what I'm used to. Now second Tuesday of every month. And today we thought we'd talk about eating intuitively. That's a subject that I love because, I've kind of learned that on my own and through other modalities and things that I've just really spent some time researching. But also it's something that, and you probably have this too with the clients that you work with, kind of busting through some of those preconceptions and myths and things like that as you're going through the process with people. And sometimes it can be challenging from this side of things because some of the people that I work with, and maybe you've experienced it too, just can't seem to get past some of the diet mentalities and things like that. And so that's really what we wanted to kind of talk about today was just, eating intuitively, listening to your body. It knows what it needs. And when you start to get in touch with that and listen to its signals, things really start to fall in place with not just the way that you eat and your overall health, but your relationship with food in general. Absolutely. I was doing a little bit of research and I came across this book. Have you heard of Intuitive Eating?
I
forgot to write down the author's name.
Sounds like something Mark David would write.
It's two females. One of them was the nutrition expert on Good Morning America for some time. Okay. And I cannot recall their names. And if anybody wants their names, just contact me. I'll let you know. I apologize for not writing that down. But they had just 10 kind of simple points that they went through in the book. And on their website, intuitiveeating.com, kind of just used, generalized that information on the site. And though I've not read the book, I really enjoyed what I read because it was all about the underlying premise, it says, of intuitive eating is that you will learn to respond to your inner body cues because you were born with all the wisdom you need.
Ah, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
So I know for myself personally, just in my journey of really what brought me into the holistic health field and wanting to become a coach was just going through it myself. And, for so long, starting in my teenage years, just battling food and what I was eating. And then, I've always said on this show, too, I've done the whole low-fat, fad diets, fat-free, whatever the big thing was, I did it, and nothing ever seemed to work, and I could never figure out why. Yeah. So, and I know a lot of people can relate to that.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I will say, I'm not only wearing these antlers because of the holidays, it's to make a point that reindeer know how to eat intuitively.
They do.
You know why? Anyone know why reindeer know how to eat intuitively?
Why, Jen?
Because they don't pollute their bodies with artificial chemicals and all the other nasties that we put in our bodies from processed foods, fast foods. They don't worry about counting calories. They're really in touch with their bodies. They eat when they're hungry. They're not addicted to sugar and all the other triggers that really throw us off in terms of being able to eat intuitively. So, yeah, just think about reindeer. They eat intuitively, naturally, and I believe that we can get back to that natural state with a few simple steps.
We absolutely can, and I know I have, and I still have to remind myself sometimes, and it doesn't mean you don't indulge, and people think that it's kind of a prison sentence, and that's not what this is. I really don't like the approach of can have this, can't have that, because the minute that we tell ourselves sometimes that we can't have something, we just want it more. So it's more just about focusing on exactly what Jennifer was saying. It's just kind of getting back to the way that our bodies are meant to be fed, and one step at a time. And sometimes it's small steps. Some people are more rigid and they respond better to something like that, but you really just have to ask yourself, where do you fall, and then where's the best starting point, and then having someone to support you along the way is really key.
Absolutely. And I think a really easy starting point, well, I'm not going to say that it's easy, but a really basic starting point is just cleaning up your diet.
Absolutely.
Because you and I both learned in nutrition school about all the chemicals and just nasty things that are in processed food, especially fast food, especially those factory farmed hamburgers that people eat and just all the artificial flavors and colors. And I can't believe how much of that junk is in kids' foods.
It's sad.
All
It's
those
sad.
artificial ingredients that the body just doesn't know how to work with those ingredients. And so what they do is they confuse the senses. And so we start craving foods that are really unhealthy for us and thinking that, well, they must be healthy because they make us feel so good. As one of my clients asked me once, she's like, if cake is so bad for me, why does it make me feel so good? And it's like, well, they've done research on sugar, for example, and feeding sugar versus cocaine to rats. And most of the time, rats will choose sugar over cocaine because it's that addictive. So once we clean up our diets and clean out all of the refined sugars, refined carbs, including breads and pastas, or at least cutting way down and eating them occasionally instead of all the time, clean out the artificial colors and flavors, then our senses can start getting back to their natural state. And then the fast food and all the junk food will start to taste and smell absolutely disgusting.
It does happen that way, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's kind of like, I can't remember who said this, but a good rule of thumb is if you don't recognize an ingredient, your body won't either.
Yeah.
And so really just starting with looking at the ingredients on things, and you'll notice that a lot of what is on ingredients labels, you probably can't even pronounce.
I know I can't.
And there's long lists, and usually, if something is healthy, it's going to be a short list of things that you know what they are. But really, just kind of starting small, and when Jen mentions getting rid of refined sugars and pastas and breads and things like that, again, it's not about having all of these cans and cans, but it's making better choices with those things. There are alternatives, and they will taste good. But sometimes I think people go into the mindset of, if it's not this, it's going to taste completely different. Tofu, I'm never going to do tofu because that's just fake whatever. I hear so many funny things. But really just kind of approaching it with an open mind and just trying things. And you're not going to like everything, and that's fine. So don't eat that specific thing. Try something else.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, because, also on the flip side, yes, you want to make better choices, but if you're eating something that you find absolutely disgusting, let's say that you just hate broccoli, well, your stomach is going to churn in a really nasty way. It's not going to digest it very well. So don't eat it. Or maybe try it again later after you've cleaned up your diet more. Because there are some things that you just may never like, and you don't have to eat those things to be healthy. In fact, like I said, you won't digest it as well, and then when you don't digest food well, that's really unhealthy for you too.
Yeah, that's a great point. There's so much to be said for our digestion and everything. Everything that goes on. Heart math is really about the belly to brain relationship and things like that. When we come back, maybe we can talk a little bit more about that, and then we'll also maybe offer up some tips from the book Intuitive Eating and some things that Jen has to help you to kind of get on that track of just starting where you're at and moving forward. We'll be right back.
Everyone knows it's easy to find first-run movies in the big theaters. But where can you go to watch your favorite classic movies on the big screen for the perfect night out? Why rent a flick when you can rent the entire theater? Call today to reserve our 32-seat theater for your next event, or just stop by to see what's showing this weekend. The 14 by 7 foot screen and the high quality digital surround sound system offers all the amenities you would expect from the big theaters, with a laid back atmosphere and comfortable seating of your own home. Wofford Theater at 1744 South 10th Street in Noblesville gives you the classic movies you want with a big theater experience.
When Margaret and I decided to sell the old estate here, we had only one choice in signage. Logan Street signs and banners. Conveniently not located on Logan Street anymore, but rather located on 10th Street on the south side of Noblesville. Well, we sold the old beauty, and we were able to buy this wonderful estate. And we had so much money left over, I was able to buy this beautiful 1968 Eldorado Cadillac for Margaret. Only 472,000 miles. Margaret loves it because it's got those big seats and that heavy-duty suspension to support her svelte frame. Next time you're looking for signs or banners, call old Jim. at Logan Street Signs and Banners, 773-7200. Conveniently not located on Logan Street anymore.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Align Your Life show, here with Jennifer Malins. Our reindeer left us. We're talking about intuitive eating today. So really just getting in tune with your body and listening to its cues. Sometimes it can be easier said than done, especially with all of the confusion out there around food and what the food industry has created for us out there. And we were just talking about food labels and ingredients and things like that. And then on top of that, you throw in the fact that we grow up with these preconditioned mindsets of what is good, what is bad, depending on who our role model, our food role model or role models were, all of the myths and diet mentalities out there. So it's kind of like peeling the onion layers back, but truly is something that doesn't have to be hard. One thing I always tell my clients is it's just change. It doesn't mean it's hard, it's just new. And so really being aware of your conscious mind around that concept so that you can move forward in a positive way and not keep yourself stuck right from the get-go. So I think one of the things that is a really big issue for people is the labels that are attached to certain things. Diets, the word diet, or just, always fighting to lose weight or always looking at the number on the scale to maybe measure your self-worth or being upset with yourself for eating something that you told yourself you weren't going to eat. I just say throw all of that out the window.
Yeah.
Just get rid of it completely, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, absolutely. And again, once you clean up your diet and get rid of some of that guilt, because guilt can drive you to make poor food choices.
Yes.
I would really recommend that you learn to slow down and just take time for yourself, become more meditative and more contemplative when it comes to your food choices. So I know sometimes we eat on the go. I mean, Jenny and I both have our smoothies with us a lot, and sometimes with our lifestyle, you do eat on the go sometimes, but you can still make healthy choices that way. And at dinner time, though, that is the time that most people are home and they're not running around. And so I would just really encourage you to use that time as to be really mindful with your food. Even keep a food journal. That's something that all health coaches seem to do, is have their clients keep a health or a food journal or a food mood journal and write down not only what you're eating, but how you felt at the time that you made that choice, how you felt while eating it, as well as a couple of hours later, because then you can start to really pinpoint, is my reaction to food and my cravings, are they related more to a physical, nutritional need or deficiency, or is it more psychological? Because a lot of times we tend to fill ourselves up with things that we're missing in our lives emotionally and psychologically. And so by keeping a food mood journal after you've cleaned up that diet, that can really help you get in touch with eating intuitively and making choices that are truly good for you rather than choices based on an addiction to chemicals in your food and cravings due to emotional reasons.
Yeah, a lot of people do stuff a lot of whatever's going on inside with food, just like, alcohol, drugs, shopping, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And you can turn that around. There's just some consistency involved, and it's not about perfection. So it's not going to be perfect every day, and you might find yourself taking 2 steps backwards a lot. But the more consistent you are with it, the more quickly you are to recognize those signals that she was talking about, emotional things that maybe you're reaching for something and then you realize, oh, the last time I felt this way, I was doing the same thing. And so now you know that's not what I need. Maybe what I need is just a walk or a phone call with a friend or, a movie or a day of just hibernating, whatever it is for you.
Absolutely.
So it just really wakes you up to so many different things. And I love what you said about making peace with your food, too. We just don't, it goes back to the cans and the can'ts and the labels and the diet myths and all of that. Just throwing that out the window and really starting to approach food and eating in a more positive light. And it is a really challenging thing for some people. So it may require some assistance and some guidance, but you can certainly do it by yourself too. So you have to kind of hone in on that for yourself and figure that out for yourself. One of the things I liked in the book, it talks about honoring your hunger. I think a lot of people think that maybe I'm overweight because I just eat too much, and so then they just won't eat all day. I hear this all the time. I don't eat all day.
Yes.
I don't know why I'm overweight. Well, it's because you don't eat all day.
Right, exactly.
Your body is always serving your highest and greatest good. So if you're going hours and hours without eating and maybe starving yourself, a lot of times what will happen is your body will hold on to fat because it's trying to protect you, because now it's in starvation mode and it knows that's not good.
Yep.
So you really have to honor your hunger, and don't wait until you're starving to eat a meal. Because then you're more likely to binge, to just grab something that's
and
not
eat too
good.
fast.
To eat too fast,
Eat
which
something
isn't good
sweet.
for digestion.
Yeah.
To grab something unhealthy.
Yeah, I mean, your body, I like what you said about your body is always looking out for your highest good. I always tell people your body is like a really friendly dog that's just protective, and sometimes it doesn't always see the big picture, but it's going to go to whatever it needs to do at that moment to help you survive. So sometimes it does want you to go for the sugary snack because it's trying to help you get your energy up. Because it doesn't know that, we're no longer running from saber-toothed tigers, that we have just this chronic stress, or the stress is work-related and we're not in danger. It's saying, you're really tired and we may need to make a run for it. We're obviously in a dangerous situation, so let's eat this quick, let's do this quick fix with this sugar here so that you can get through whatever you're going to get through. And that's, not indeed what you need to do. But don't get angry with your body for its messages, because again, it's just trying to protect you. And we live in a very unnatural world in a lot of ways, a very confusing world, a very different world than our ancestors lived in.
Yeah. I was going to ask you to maybe just talk a little bit more about the saber-tooth reference, because it's true. It's, that's what our body goes back to, its natural state of balance, and to years and years and years ago before we evolved to where we are now.
Absolutely. And so, we weren't designed to be sedentary all day, but that's the reality of life for many of us. We weren't designed to have other people creating these frankenfoods, which we consume in boxes and cans. And so just living as close to the natural state as you can. Of course, most of us can't live on farms as much as I would love to. I don't have time to do that. But just eating close to the earth, as you always say, and going to the farmer's market, and don't buy things in boxes and cans. Don't buy things that have barcodes on them. And if you do buy something that has a barcode on it, at least understand the ingredients.
Yeah, because there are actually things out there that aren't, terribly processed, that do have a barcode or are in a box or a package. But by and large, that's a great rule of thumb, because most of what's out there isn't. And you really do have to become keen at looking at the labels and understanding them before, you start to make those decisions.
Absolutely.
We have to take another quick break, but when we come back, we'll talk more about eating intuitively and how you can do that yourself. Be right back.
Everyone knows it's easy to find first-run movies in the big theaters. But where can you go to watch your favorite classic movies on the big screen for the perfect night out? Why rent a flick when you can rent the entire theater? Call today to reserve our 32-seat theater for your next event, or just stop by to see what's showing this weekend. The 14 by 7 foot screen and the high quality digital surround sound system offers all the amenities you would expect from the big theaters, with a laid back atmosphere and comfortable seating of your own home. Wofford Theater at 1744 South 10th Street in Noblesville gives you the classic movies you want with a big theater experience.
When Margaret and I decided to sell the old estate here, we had only one choice in signage: Logan Street signs and banners. Conveniently not located on Logan Street anymore, but rather located on 10th Street on the south side of Noblesville. Well, we sold the old beauty, and we were able to buy this wonderful estate. And we had so much money left over, I was able to buy this beautiful 1968 Eldorado Cadillac for Margaret. Only 472,000 miles. Margaret loves it because it's got those big seats and that heavy-duty suspension to support her svelte frame. Next time you're looking for signs or banners, call old Jim. at Logan Street Signs and Banners, 773-7200. Conveniently not located on Logan Street anymore.
Job for you.
There you go.
Welcome back to the Align Your Life show, everyone. We just got lost in our little side conversation here with Jennifer Malins, and we're talking about eating intuitively. So listening to your body's cues and getting back to really your body's natural state of balance and what it's trying to tell you as you're eating. And as you fuel yourself with the food that your body is meant to receive, you'll find that becomes easier and easier and easier. But it does take time, as I said before, so just be patient with yourself. We were talking before the break about honoring your hunger, and on the other side of that is respecting your fullness. So really understanding what that full feeling feels like after you've been sitting down eating a meal, and stopping when you're done instead of feeling like you have to clean your plate. And that could be one of those preconditioned mindsets that you grew up with. Maybe that's what you're used to doing because that was a rule in your house. But you're a grown-up now, and you don't have to do that anymore.
Right.
So really, just listening to your body and not stuffing it, because talk about digestion, that's another really terrible thing for our digestion.
Well, and I have had several clients tell me that they enjoy the feeling of stuffing themselves. And I have family members who love doing this as well. And so we explored that, because I do a lot of eating psychology with my clients and really exploring their food cravings and where all those things come from. A lot of those things come from childhood or just from lack of certain things in their personal lives, like maybe a relationship isn't going as well as they would like, or maybe they're really stressed about their jobs.
Again, your emotions, just stuffing your emotions with food.
Absolutely. And some of my clients have told me, well, I feel so empty emotionally. And so when I stuff myself, I feel this feeling of just having enough, being abundant in a more psychological way. So then we start talking about, okay, let's talk about the areas of your life where you're not feeling full. And let's fill those areas up. Like you and I in nutrition school, we were taught about primary food. So that's one of the big things that the Institute of Integrative Nutrition hammers home, is that primary food is not the food on your plate. It's everything else in your life: spirituality, relationships, career, exercise, all of those things. And what I find with my clients is very often when we have them fill out that circle of life,
love that,
is that there are so many areas where they just feel like they're lacking. A lot of times it's career, maybe they have a boss that they don't like, or maybe they're just doing something that doesn't fulfill them, or maybe it's relationship issues, at home, things that are going on at home. So then we work on those areas and food as well, and to find that balance. And once they work on those other areas of their lives, they don't feel the need to stuff themselves as much. Those cravings really start to subside.
Such a great point. And I think even in the interim of that, which you bring up a good point too about why it's so important to have support around that, because sometimes we can't see what's going on with us, but someone else can.
Right.
But if you don't have that support, or even as you're going through the process of that with someone, and you're maybe not sure what it is that you're trying to fill up with food, think of things that you like to do or that used to bring you joy. One of the things I've been doing lately is sketching and coloring. I loved to do that as a kid. I could sit for hours and do that, and I can do it now when I picked it back up. It just allows me to just zone out, and sometimes I just like to turn my brain off and just pour myself into one thing. And so find something, even if it sounds silly, that you enjoy doing, because it's going to fill something within you that you're stuffing with food.
Absolutely.
One of the other notes in this book talked about discovering the satisfaction factor, which kind of goes along with what Jennifer was just talking about, but it's talking about Japanese have a wisdom to promote pleasure as one of their goals of healthy living. And in our fury today to be thin and healthy, we often overlook one of the most basic gifts of existence, the pleasure and satisfaction that can be found in the eating experience. So it's talking about eating, taking time to eat in the environment that you want, creating that experience, the way that the food looks, or the way that the place settings look, or maybe not eating in front of the TV, taking it into the dining room, or outside on a beautiful evening, or enjoying the company of a loved one with your food. So really creating those experiences for yourself.
Absolutely.
Makes such a difference. Wouldn't you agree?
It does. And even when you're cooking, I'm glad you brought that up, because I used to hate to cook, and I swore, I'm going to marry a man who can cook, because I'm never going to cook. And I just hated it, and I was awful at it. I was so bad. That's another story for another day.
But not anymore.
Not anymore. I really enjoy
same time.
cooking. And when I started learning more about where my food came from and going to the farmer's market and eating closer to the earth and eating whole foods and making things from scratch, and it sounds really labor intensive, but it's actually not.
It's not.
And it's way cheaper to cook this way. But creating a ritual around cooking. So now I have Pandora, and I put on my favorite Pandora station, whatever speaks to me at the moment, and I light a candle. I have this little candle over the stove. I just started doing this, and I light a candle, and I bought this beautiful wooden spoon with all this ornate carving on it, and that's kind of like my little magic kitchen wand. And I just create a ritual around cooking now. And create that atmosphere. And when I'm exhausted at the end of the day, I still feel like cooking because I look forward to it. It's something healing for me rather than a chore.
That is such a great, I love that. And I do some similar things too. But just having pretty things and fun things and good music in the back, whatever you like. Maybe it's none of those things, but find what you like and create that experience for yourself. What a fantastic point. Well, we are running short on time. Did you have any last minute points that you wanted to make? Anything that you wanted to squeeze in? I know you're blogging about this, right?
Yes, I am. So this will appear this Sunday at 5 p.m. at bellybrain.org. But one other point that I wanted to make, and this seems like a really obvious one, but I'm going to say it, is that you need to get out and move. Find an activity that you like. Because you will notice, especially if you're keeping your food mood journal, that when you start exercising regularly, and exercise can be gardening, it can be hiking through the woods. I love to ice skate, you know. You can do yoga, you know. Jenny loves her really intensive workouts. Your body will tell you what it really needs. So your cravings will really decrease, and you'll start craving really healthy foods. You won't even want to put anything unhealthy in your body because your body is more in tune with what you actually need, and it's physical, nutritional based needs versus psychological wants.
Yeah, great point. Where can they find your blog again?
www.bellybrain.org. Okay. That is my website. And then you just go to the section that says blog and you can look at all the blogs. But I will be posting this on Sunday. Every Sunday at 5 is when I post my blogs.
Fantastic. Do you have any events coming up?
I just had my first class in a series of classes called Journey into the Heart of the Soul at the Playful Soul. So I have several students in that class, and we're doing the heart math technique plus diving in a little bit deeper to some of the techniques I mentioned in my book. So that is, I don't have any upcoming events because I'm in the middle of that one, but I will be doing another series in the future. I'm not sure when, but if you are interested in that class series, you can contact me at jennifer@bellybrain.org, or you can call me at 408-250-1027.
Awesome. Thanks so much for being here, Jen.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Always love when you're here, and she'll be back the second Tuesday of the month. So keep posted for that. 2 o'clock is our new time. Again, my name is Jenny Parks. You can reach me at jennyparks@alignyourlifewellness.com, or my phone number 317-945-8268, or Facebook. Connect there. Always love to be connected on Facebook. Thanks so much for joining us today. We'll be back next week, Tuesday at 2 o'clock. Have a wonderful week. Bye, everyone.
Bye.